Welcome to the Suffer Up podcast with Nate and Ryan, where our mission is to encourage and lead others to suffer with a purpose, striving to level up in life with an emphasis on spiritual, mental, and physical well-being. These are the voices of Nate and Ryan. Thank you for tuning in today. Before we get started on today's topic, we want to give a special thank you and shout out to our supporters, Soft Socks. Soft Socks, we love you guys, and we're thankful for your support in this channel. They provide a toe sock, primarily for runners, but you can wear them every day like we do. Compression fitting sock for your feet. They're comfortable, blister prevention. If you would like to try a pair, you can use the discount code SUFFER10 at checkout to receive 10% off of a sweet pair of soft socks. To find them, you can go to our link tree in the description of this podcast, click on it, and you can shop their store. Thanks so much for listening, guys. We hope you enjoy this episode. So you brought it to our attention. We're going to talk about it at a later episode of what it means to suffer with a purpose.
Yes.
And we're going to put a disclaimer out there. We hit on it kind of in one of our earliest episodes. You can go back and listen to those earlier episodes, but you've got two dudes that are extremely nervous talking behind a microphone, and the quality is not quite as good as it is now, even though we do have a ways to improve. But stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
It got brought up in conversation, and
yeah. So. Yeah, I mean our mission statement says it somewhat, but to really suffer with a purpose, we'll dive into that specific topic and where we got that concept from.
Yeah.
In a episode soon to be.
So we're just going to put a plug out there, so you guys stay tuned for that one. But today we are going to talk about the word grief and grieving and what that looks like. If you haven't been through a season of grieving, it's coming because this life is tough, and you're going to be faced with challenges, whether your immediate family or distant family. So we're going to kind of talk about what that means for us and kind of ways that we process those things. And hopefully, if you are in a season of this, you can feel encouraged. And if you haven't yet, you will eventually. So you can tuck this away in your Rolodex of your brain and save it. So
this isn't going to be like a scientific breakdown of the stages of grief or anything like that. Mm-hmm. We're just discussing the topic of grief and maybe a little talk on trauma as well.
Yep.
Because it goes hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to one of our previous episodes, I'll go ahead and put this disclaimer out there as well. I am being coached by Sovereign Consulting with Jeremy Vandelinder. I really enjoy the coaching sessions. You can also find his stuff on the in our link tree as well. But he also does crisis intervention and deals with people who are grieving. He is a pastor, but he also has worked with fire departments with critical stress management and stuff like that. It's funny because during the conversation, this is in line with what we're talking about today, of the concept of grief and struggling and all of that encompasses. If I had had this coaching 3 years ago, it would have been a completely different coaching session.
Oh yeah.
So he's caught me on a productive track, if you will,
on the mountaintop.
On the mountaintop, which is great because even though I feel as though I'm on a mountaintop right now, I still have ways to definitely improve, like we all do.
Yeah.
And that there's always another summit. And so the coaching sessions are more like fine-tuning and focusing on certain areas of my life that really need honing more than others. But we'll also kind of talk about how we've processed and dealt with grief as well. So kind of a nice little intro for you. You can go back and listen to that other episode. I believe it's 42. So anyway, grief. When you hear the word grief, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Sadness.
Sadness?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I think of the word grief, I think of the word turmoil. You're in turmoil, like no homeostasis, like everything is kind of all over the place. It hurts.
You can't think clearly, and just upset.
Yep. Yeah, definitely sad is a very good word, I think. But it's definitely like your world's been turned upside down. And I think when things are going well, things are clicking, things are going the way that they should, and then you're hit with this, it's it's kind of a shock at first.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm hit with something, it's an immediate like processing time. Like, okay, where am I at? Where is this going to take me? And I immediately go to like down the road instead of right now. Because I think as men, we are fixers. We want to fix things, and we're like, okay, how can I fix this? How can I make it better? Sometimes you can't make things better. And I think that's when grief really hits.
Yeah.
Can't take it back. It's done. Like,
when you realize that you have no control over the situation.
Yep.
Yeah.
We struggle with that as men.
Oh, 100% we struggle with that. You said something there, though, about like when it first hits, you get like that shock.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something that a lot of men, I think, are pretty good at.
Mm-hmm.
That fight or flight. We're typically more inclined to go the fight route.
Yep.
Like, oh, how do I fight against this? But I'm not sure that that's helpful in the grief.
No.
Because at some point you get to that step of what we just said where you realize you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's more crushing at that point
mm-hmm.
because you're trying to fight something that you have zero control over.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So this topic did get brought up because I am currently dealing with essentially the death of my grandfather. He has not died yet, but it is inevitable and quite soon. He's now kind of not really in much of a coherent state, extremely weak, rapid decline. So I'm truthfully, sadly saying that I'm not willing, but like I'm expecting a phone call at any time.
Because he's got cancer all over his body.
Yep. Right. So, like for me, and I have to kind of caution my heart, myself, of this is something that has like it hit the family. We understood what's happening. We're essentially the steps of grieving are happening before he even died.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's a great way to process it, right? If you have that luxury.
Yeah.
And I have to kind of protect my heart because I see things through a slightly different, more hardened lens.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
That like you, as well as a lot of our listeners, I'm guessing, are a lot more exposed to death regularly than normal people. I don't, without sitting here thinking very hard, I can't think of the last time that I saw a dead person.
Yeah.
Whereas it probably wasn't a very long time ago for you.
No, it was last shift. Yeah, right.
So maybe way too soon,
right.
But
I mean, like,
point being, you see them somewhat regularly, unfortunately. But yeah, you definitely, you and a lot of the guys listening, I mean, you guys have a totally different view of looking at this, and it's hard to not apply that to things that are so close to you because you're trying to protect yourself just like you are at work.
Yeah.
But you still have to move through those steps of grief and acceptance.
Yeah.
And you got to deal with it.
And it's healthy.
Yeah.
Like, it needs to happen. During my coaching session, one of the things that Jeremy mentioned was he asked me the question, like, how do you handle stress? Like when you just feel overwhelmed, like how do you, and one of the areas we talked about it in one of the previous episodes about the wheel, physical fitness is kind of my outlet. I call it my pill, if you will.
Yeah.
But like, that's my thing. That's what I go do when I'm stressed, and it's part of my routine and my regimen. But he said, that's really good, actually, that you do that scientifically, if you will. One of the 3 ways that you can really, truly get rid of, like a physical aspect that you can truly rid yourself of the stress or the worries or grief, is through 3 things. 1, sweat, so exercise, getting that dopamine spike. 2, is peeing it out. I didn't really clarify how peeing works, but I guess being hydrated.
Yeah, I don't know if he meant that or if he meant like people drinking.
Yeah.
Alcohol. I'm not sure.
I don't think
I know
that
a lot
we
of
are
people,
not supporting alcohol
we're not supporting
consumption,
it at all. I think a lot of people use alcohol as their stress
Some
reliever.
people do, yeah, and it's not necessarily a positive outlet. But the other one would be crying it out.
Yeah.
And so, as men, we don't want to cry. But
on that note, all 3 of those, it's not just that something's coming out of your body, sweat, pee, or tears, but also, like you said, dopamine is the byproduct of working out. Well, all of those things release dopamine and other chemicals in your brain that make you feel less sad and depressed.
Yeah.
Crying does. Drinking absolutely does. Alcohol for sure. Not in a good way though, guys.
Yeah, no.
Staying hydrated is definitely a much better route, and then go run.
Yeah.
But working out, all those things are going to make some chemical changes in your brain that truly make the biggest difference, not just excreting a fluid from your body.
Yeah. Yeah. So like those three things, and I think crying is a healthy thing.
Absolutely.
It's okay to cry.
Sometimes.
If you're crying because you didn't get what you wanted, you're now in toddler status.
You're a crybaby.
You're a crybaby. But I mean, I can remember a couple times in my career where things got to where it just, and like women especially, they're like, oh, I had a good cry, but it's like a check of our ego. But there's been a couple times in my life where I was just at wit's end, and I just, the tears started falling, and like, that's okay.
Yeah.
It is okay. And like one time specifically, I was at work and I was at a complete, just overwhelmed state. And thankfully I had a really solid crew, and they noticed something was wrong, and they came over and gave me a hug, and we worked through it together. And it was a great thing. And like, we grew closer together as a crew because of it, instead of like, dude, get over yourself, you're fine. Like, but unfortunately a lot of guys don't have that network. But yeah, crying it out is like, that's a good thing. Like, let your body go through those steps and those processes, because it's literally a cleansing and a healing thing. So yeah, the little plug there of like, those three things are cry it out, sweat it out, and pee it out. And again, to emphasize, alcohol is not a good thing to turn to when you're grieving. It is an easy thing to turn to.
It's just going to suppress the problems, though, for a short time.
Yeah.
As long as you can stay drunk, you're going to feel better. Yeah. But as soon as that wears off, you didn't actually do anything.
Right. I'm going to clarify what he meant by peeing out, like specifically, because I didn't ask him.
Yeah.
I got a coaching session this week, so I'll ask him, like, what was that about peeing it out? Like, what's the scientific behind that? I'll see what he says.
Yeah.
But he said those are the three
Maybe there's
things.
something about drinking a bunch of water.
Maybe.
Oh, no, you just stay super hydrated and all your worries go down the drain.
Maybe so. Literally. But yeah, so like the process of grieving is different for everybody. And, like for me, I use physical fitness as an outlet. And again, I know we're going to talk about it more in a future episode, but like suffering with a purpose, when I put myself in a painful situation and I see myself out of it, I get a lot of gratification from that.
Yeah.
And there's a mental process that happens for me, and that is part of my process. And it's way more constructive. Now, hindsight, like there's two sides to every coin. If you are one of the guys that goes out and just, I'm going to go destroy my body just so you, okay, cool.
There's
like,
an extreme for everything.
There's an extreme for everything. And like, good on you for getting out there and getting a good workout in. But are you doing it with a purpose in mind? Like every race we do, every physical things that we decide to do, I come out with a lesson. If you do those things and you're not coming out a better person on the other side, like what's your MO behind this thing?
I get a lot of mental clarity from exercise.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't even realize it at the beginning or in the moment sometimes, but like towards the end of a run or something, I'll kind of reflect on the past hour or however long I've been running, and be like, man, I have allowed my mind to drift in positive directions and look at what I've accomplished during this time. And you just kind of reflect back on what you've achieved in that amount of time and what you've thought about during that amount of time. Maybe you sorted out some of those hard thoughts in your mind and you dealt with some of that sadness and just kind of came to terms with it. But I always find clarity in my exercise.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. And I always come, like Lauren will look at me and say, Nate, you need to go for a run. Just go put your shoes on and go run.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'll go run or lift. Lifting is great. I really enjoy lifting because there's something about pushing or pulling the weight away, fighting against gravity and pushing it away from your body. There's something special about that. But can you think of a time where grief has set in on your life, and how did you handle it?
Yeah. I think I was 16 or 17 when my grandfather died. He also had cancer.
Excuse me.
And yeah, it was tough. I mean, I was at like a rough time in my life where I was a young teenager and trying to find my way. I don't really remember exactly what I did to handle it. I mean, I definitely cried.
Yeah.
Definitely cried it out. I remember very vividly standing in my grandparents' laundry room. It's just where we happened to meet. But like me and my dad were walking through at the same time, and we both just hugged and just cried right there in the laundry room.
Yep.
And that certainly helped.
Yeah.
It didn't change anything, but made you feel a little better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember going and like sitting. He died in October. I remember going and sitting on like a mountaintop in Western North Carolina and just looking at all the fall colors around, like how beautiful the world that God created was. And I'm like, well, now Grandpa's up there with him. I mean, that brought me a lot of peace.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting closer to God, connecting with him.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good.
Can't think of anything else specifically. I mean, I was in sports at the time, so I'm sure I was sweating it out somehow also. Let's see, that was fall, so I would have probably been doing cross country at that time.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the things that I remember the most.
I was going to kind of wrap the episode up with this. I just had the thought now while you were talking, but statistically on Podbean, people tune out after about, like, because we have ADHD as Americans. But so I'm going to put it in the middle about death. Death I've seen in all different areas. I've seen it in the nursing homes that I've worked at. I've seen it in the hospitals. I've seen it under like tragic instant things, homicide to, fire fatalities to car accidents, you name it, suicide, all that stuff. Countless of them. There's something, death can be viewed in two different ways. Death can be viewed as horrific and tragic and sudden and all this. Or it can be seen as a beautiful passing of the baton, if you will. Celebration.
Yeah.
I'll do a real quick story. I remember a elderly lady that I took care of in the nursing home when I was in high school. This was also a contributing factor to Nate. At the age of, I guess, 16, I was doing a work release program in a nursing home and doing a lot of hospice people. So like I was surrounded by it extremely young, and being able to process death at the age of like 16 years old, which isn't necessarily like, it's part of my story, whatever. Yeah. But I remember
this healthy weight on that.
Yeah. So I remember this little elderly lady, and she was always the happiest lady. She always would come through with her walker. She would always she had a little walker with candy, and she'd always give out candy, and just a very sweet old elderly lady. And her family never really came and saw her, but she always had this joy about her, like just always so happy. Well, when it was her time to go, I came in for my shift, and they said, I don't remember her name, unfortunately, but they're like, oh, we'll call her Miss Doris. That's not her name, but we'll just say her name's Doris. Oh, Doris is passing. Like, she's going to go soon. And I'm like, oh, man, Doris, we love Doris. So I went and saw her and stopped into her room, and she was laying in her like handmade quilt, and she was still kind of with it. And I talked to her, and she's like, well, I'm dying. They say I'm dying. I guess it's my time. And I was like, oh, I'm really sorry to hear that. She's like, why? It's okay. It's my turn. Everybody has to do it. And now I don't have to be in pain anymore, and I get to go see Jesus. And like, I was a Christian, obviously. And I'm like, you know what? That's so, to see somebody die so boldly and with such peace. And I was in the room actually when she passed. Like, our family was there. I'm getting beverages for the family, making them comfortable in the nursing home. And when the moment she died, like, watched her take her last breath, she had a massive smile on her face. And she was saying things like, oh, hi, Johnny. And like, seeing these people, like, her soul was literally leaving as we were there.
Yeah.
And it was such a beautiful thing to see her pass out of this world and into eternity with such peace of like I get to see Jesus, and you could literally see her get excited. Most of the time, people's heart rates kind of go down when they die.
Yeah.
Like it'll slow down, slow down, slow down. Her heart rate actually increased with all, I believe it's excitement. Like she got excited physically on earth as she was passing. And then when she was gone, like her last face, when her last heartbeat was done, she had a smile on her face. And I'm like,
that's a hell of a way to die, man.
that is an amazing way to go out of the world, you know? Like,
that's the way I want to do it.
Yeah. And then hindsight, like I watched a man pass in the same nursing home, and he passed with his hands covering his face, and he was like, no, 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 no.
Oh, man.
Like there was a sense of regret there when he passed. You know, nobody really knows like what you start to see when you die, but Satan just won that soul, and that's sad because he never accepted the truth. So like opposite, you know, two different sides there. Having been near those end of life, where like physically witnessing people die,
yeah,
and when you witness it, that's why I say it can be healthy and it can be not so healthy, but like it can be beautiful or it can be ugly, and the gravity of death and what it is, and eternity and the weight of that really becomes more real once you live it. You know what I'm saying?
Or see it firsthand.
Not like I haven't died yet.
You live it, you die it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, when I die, I'll do a podcast and I'll let you know.
I'll do a little seance and try and bring you back to talk.
Exactly.
No, I'm kidding.
We'll hook up some brain wires. By then, maybe they'll have some brain wires where they can like capture.
Garbage.
Yeah, it is garbage. But no, but death it's inevitable.
Yep.
You're going to face it. It's not something you can beat. It's one of the few things that, if you think about it, it's one of the few things that you cannot defeat. The physical form of death.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Jesus died on the cross for all people, and
he
defeated death. The Bible
cannot.
says that, but we cannot defeat the inevitable, and that is the heart stopping and the lungs stopping, and you're now just a ball of flesh that goes in the ground, but your soul leaves.
Yeah. But to your point, we often think that we have no control over our death.
Right.
And while we can't control the time or the place or how necessarily, we can control that final moment like you just described.
Yeah.
You get to decide if you're going to view your death as a smile on your face or covering your face saying no, no, no.
Mm-hmm.
That is 100% your decision.
Yeah.
So I would recommend everybody gets right with the Lord
Yeah.
before their time comes.
Yeah, make your amends for sure.
And you have a plan in place
Mhm.
as to say, I'm going to go out this way.
Yeah.
I don't know how, when, or where.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it with a smile on my face.
Yeah. And I don't like, you have the real hardcore preachers like, you're destined for hell on all this, like, although they are true, but this is set out of love in that we're choose Jesus. Like, it's not that hard to just choose Jesus. Like, he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one cometh unto the Father but by Jesus. Like, your way to God is through Jesus. Like, he paid that price. And so
we don't choose Jesus because we fear hell.
Right.
We choose Jesus because of who he is and what he's done for us.
Right.
But that comes with the perk of not going to hell.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and a lot of the episodes that we do it encompasses that theme, of course, but you mentioned something, and I was like, I've learned a lot seeing death so frequently.
Yeah.
But I also have to kind of protect myself I don't want to become so hardened by it that I don't value what it is, because it almost becomes flippant. Like, oh, yep, there goes another one. Like, that was a soul that just left this earth. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And the opportunities that I've missed to share God's word in the back of the ambulance or whatever.
Well, not only does it, or could it become flippant for you,
Mhm.
but it gravely affects the people around you.
Yeah.
If you and your wife both witnessed a car accident and somebody died, and you were just like, oh, got another one, or,
Mhm.
oh, she didn't make it.
Yep.
And your wife's over there in shock, bawling her eyes out because
Mhm.
she just witnessed this. And like, you're of no help to her.
Right.
I'm using this as an
I
example.
understand.
Like
Yeah.
you would be of no help to her. You got to be able to feel the pain also,
Mm-hmm.
show it like, hey, that is sad, and go through that process with the people around you. Because as the man, you are still in charge of leading your family and the people around you. So you've got to be able to productively work through grief yourself and help those around you do it at the same time.
Yeah.
If you just be hard as stone, whatever, then you're not helping yourself and you're not helping others.
No.
Everybody's going to think that they're weird because, I should just be okay with death like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're going to think that you're a psychopath because you're okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
Neither one of those is great.
Right. Should never be taken lightly, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
And
good way of putting it.
It's, it's one thing that we just got to kind of guard ourselves as people that are around it all the time. But like more on the topic of grieving, like I pray that my immediate, like my household, that when that time comes, it can be a joyful time as much as it is. You're going to mourn the loss that they're not there anymore, but there's such beautiful hope in the grief for those who know Jesus.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine going through grief and not having Jesus.
Not having that hope.
Yeah, not having that hope. Like,
yeah.
I feel so badly for people that don't understand it. And that's part of the reason why the Suffer Up podcast exists. Like, suffering with a purpose. Again, we're going to open it up even more, but like, suffer with a purpose. And that purpose is Jesus. Like, what is your purpose? Our purpose is Jesus. Like, we are here to honor the kingdom of God through our actions, physically, mentally, and spiritually, and to uphold those values and truths, and to encourage and lead others along the way to help them through whatever it is that they're going through. That would be like really short snippet of what it means. Yeah. But like, it's okay to grieve, but if you come and ask us for help through a grieving time, which we hope you feel trustworthy enough to allow us to be blessed in that way, but expect to hear Jesus, because that's what we're going to point you to.
Yeah.
And
I'll say some other stuff, but if we don't say Jesus, slap us, because that's really the only way.
Exactly. Also, funerals. I've been to a multitude of funerals, and funerals can go one of two ways. It's either joyful celebration of life.
It's either a party.
And I went to one. It was I can't say it on the air. I wanted to tell that story, but I can't. Anyway, funerals are either a party or they're not a party, and they're either a celebration or a loss. But I've also been to a couple where it's almost awkward, because whoever's leading the funeral says, almost with like while gritting his teeth, knowing that they're not in eternity, and trying to somehow find hope for the family. And like, we can flippantly say like, oh, they're with Jesus now. Oh, they're with Jesus now. Like, well, no, the Bible clearly says that there is also hell. So, there's a chance that they're not in heaven with Jesus right now.
Yep.
And so that's a sad, sad truth. But again, so I'm given like 3 different types of funerals. But the other one is, although they didn't live their life for Jesus, this is the truth. So if one life was lost and their soul is, but the person conducting the funeral uses it as an opportunity to advance and share the gospel. Like, this is the truth. I've been a part of a couple of those before, and I'm like, that's amazing. And
one tragedy can be used to save many more lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And then even, I'm giving multitude of examples, but a lady who died from cancer, she said in a prayer early on in her life, she said, Lord, use my life in whatever way you need me to. She basically truly submitted to God in a very powerful way. And this is an example of like, be careful what you pray for. But she was an extremely devout Christian lady, loved the Lord. You could see it in her heart and in her actions. She got cancer, and she continued to sing in church. She continued to just love on people despite her terminal illness. And like, she touched so many lives, and her life literally was a beautiful celebration, and God used her death and brought other people to Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, praise the Lord.
Like the climax of a sermon was her death.
And
all the people were like,
wow.
Yeah.
It's tragic that she's gone, but like, there's so much that came from that.
Yeah.
And God literally used her life in a positive way.
Your life's not just about how you live, but about how you die.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I think that's so true in that example right there. Like it's how she died that changed lives after she was gone. Pretty cool.
It is. So, and then watching the family go through that grieving process was so much easier because they had the truth, and they knew that, like, I mean, her husband was distraught and in a lot of pain, of course, and he went through a difficult season there, but the truth still remains that, like, she's in eternity, and she left a legacy behind.
It's hard to be sad forever when you have so much positivity and hope surrounding where they're at now and what their life meant, like what came of that. It's hard to look at that and be that upset when you can see the results. You see the fruits of their labor, and you're like, man, I really can't cry too much because look at what it produced. It's hard to miss.
And at the beginning of this episode, we kind of mentioned, we said, we're not going to give you like the 7-step process to grieving, but the takeaways that we would like to leave you with is grieving is hard. It's not easy, regardless of the hope or truth. Like, it's not easy. You can sometimes question God. You can sometimes question, but like, just know that all things work together for good for those who know and love the Lord. That's in Scripture. And so all these things work together for Him. If you don't have the truth of Jesus in your life, reach out to somebody, and figure out what that is. And if you listen to enough of our episodes, you'll clearly hear the gospel multiple times. But you can process these things in a positive way or a negative way. Don't turn to the things of this world, but turn to Him. And that's really the direction of this. To bring it full circle, I picked this topic today because it's kind of, my family's kind of going through it right now with my grandfather passing. I had a chance to witness to him a couple times while I was there. He does not know the Lord, and that's hard. He has said that he has made a deal with God. I'm sorry, but God makes the deals, not us. And, that's tough. But I know that I shared the gospel with him clearly. Other people have. And unfortunately, he's choosing not to accept. And it's tough to say, but, I have peace knowing that he heard the gospel and he understands what it is, and it's up to him. It's not up to me. It's up to God. And so, going through it, the positive outlets here are move your bodies and do those things, because they are a great outlet for me. It really helped me through a lot of dark seasons. Communicating with other people and sharing vocally what's going on in your heart and in your mind. And I find a lot of encouragement when somebody else is grieving or having a tough time with something. Help them through that, because when you help somebody else through that, whether that's just holding a hand, giving a hug, writing a note, sending flowers, whatever it is that you feel that you need to do those things, because it's also going to help you through those things. And just spend time in prayer and in God's word, and the lessons will be learned through that life.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question as we close out here. Do you have any tips or recommendations that you would give to other firefighters or first responders who do see death regularly on how to prevent that hardening of your heart? Like, you come up on scene and some of the other guys might be hardened about it already, and like, there's another one. Like, is there something that you do right away that, like, you say a prayer for that person, and that just kind of brings back that concept that you mentioned earlier, that, hey, another soul just left the earth?
Yeah. So it's kind of a two-sided answer.
All right.
One, there's a stigma in the profession of just suck it up, buttercup. Like, and to a degree, you kind of have to. So it's okay to compartmentalize that. But as far as like processing death, that it's okay to have a little bit of numbness to it. That's okay. But for me, what I do, I didn't do this before. I kind of adopted this over the last 4 or 5 years or so, is I take a moment and I just reflect on the fact that I remind myself that was a life lost. The life is no longer here. And that is not just a car or an inanimate object, and that they are a person. They had a family. They might have had kids. They might have had whatever. I remind myself of that, but I also don't consume myself with who that person is. I've seen people before get to where they're like looking up where they worked and how many kids did they have. No.
Yeah.
No. Don't entertain the social aspect of who they are. And that's where I say, like, it's okay to be slightly hardened.
Yeah.
You're gonna, the news and stuff like that, you hear it on the news, were you on that wreck that killed whoever or whatever?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I was. Oh man, my so-and-so knew him, and like, nope, I'm good. I don't need to know that.
Yeah.
I had a job to do. I did my job to the best of my abilities, and I did everything that I could, but death is inevitable. So remind myself of that, but also to protect myself so that I don't get so hardened. I just take a moment and reflect of like, okay, this was a person.
You humanize them.
I'm a humanize them.
Yeah.
They're not just a car that is now.
You humanize them, but you don't try and build some kind of like relationship with them.
Somebody who's already dead.
Said. Yeah.
Right.
You're trying to connect with them on a deeper level and figure
Right.
out who they were, what they liked, and how much family they had, whatnot.
Yeah.
That's a really good recommendation.
Yeah.
There's a middle ground there.
There's.
And a lot of people, it seems like it'd be easy to go one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like that rabbit hole would not be hard to go down of
Right.
like, oh, who was this person? She was only 18, blah, blah.
Right.
And
I mean, that concept clicked with me on an accident that happened. A guy was on a motorcycle and got ran over. When we got there, we had to lift the car off of him, pull him out, and his helmet was kind of crushed, and he was taking his last breaths type deal. Anyway, he ended up passing on scene despite our efforts, and we didn't have any identity on, like, or ID or anything. We didn't know who he was. So I was tasked with going through his backpack. So I went through his backpack to try to figure out who he was so that we could get all the appropriate people notified. And the first thing I grabbed out of his bag was a cell phone. And when I looked at the cell phone, it was some text messages from his wife, and there was pictures. I couldn't see the pictures, but the captions under it were like, we love you so much. We can't wait to see you when you get home thanks for working so hard for us. And then his kids' names were there of like, so-and-so misses you. And we can't wait to see you when you get home. And I'm like, dang, this isn't just a car that's broke down. Like, this is a human life.
Yeah.
And there's a wife and kids at home that will not get to, and then shortly thereafter, we set his backpack kind of next to where he was laying, and his phone starts ringing. And somebody decided to not pick up the phone, but like physically pick it up.
Yeah.
And looked, and it was his wife calling. And it's like that. Now I've crossed that threshold of like humanizing who this person is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've notified family countless times of like, I'm sorry, but your loved one has passed. And then the immediate, like we said, shock and grief phase hits.
Yeah.
And that's never easy. But it's also, by uttering that, you're also bringing closure of like, this person's dead. There's nothing we can do past what our efforts were on scene for our profession and our line of work, but separating a little bit to where it's like, I have a job to do. This is my job. But then in turn, this is the hope that's in the truth that I'm trying to say in all this is you appreciate life so much more, and you realize how fragile life is. And how quickly it can be taken.
How quickly it can go from your wife sending you pictures of your kids saying they miss you to somebody being gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you guys listening were like me during that, thinking, that sounds like a miserable job, I could never do that. Next time you see a firefighter or a police officer, thank them, because that does not sound like an easy job. I would not want to do that on a regular basis. Notifying family does not sound like something that I ever want to do.
Yeah.
So thank you for what you do, man.
Oh, no. See, And people say like, thank you for your service. Thank you for all this. Like, I don't say these stories to like seek any sort of recognition. I just want to say that, but
No.
I just feel the need to say it because we hear it all the time. But I genuinely will say the response of, you're worth it.
Yeah.
I've started to adopt saying that, like, you're worth it. Because why am I doing this job? It's because people's lives matter. Like, all the firefighting and all that stuff, all the fire service is for people.
Yeah.
Like, the main MO, save lives and protect property. That's what we're here for.
Well,
And
for
so-
every body that you've encountered,
Mm-hmm.
there's been another person saved. I would
Yeah.
guarantee it.
Yeah.
Or a house
I would hope
saved,
so.
or,
Yeah,
or
right.
a car. Like there's been numerous things saved and positive outcomes
Yeah.
to match every single one of these deaths that you've
Yep.
talked about or experienced.
Crisis management.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do the
So-
most amount of good for the most amount of people. And that's
Yeah.
our MO. But no, thank you for that. And it's the best job in the world. I love it. It brings so much rewarding encounters. And today we're talking about grief. So of course you're hearing a lot of the bad stuff, but there's a lot of good stuff that comes from this profession. So, I love it. It's been a part of me for the last 13-ish years, and it's taught me so much, and there's nothing that I can do to give enough back on what it's given me. And yeah. But if you thank a fireman, if you thank anybody, my response has been like, you're worth it. Thank you, or it's, we love what we do. Thank you for being a citizen here so that I can have this job.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I appreciate that.
Well, thanks for sharing your personal story with grief.
Yeah.
Today.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's not easy, and we're all going to pray for your family and
Appreciate that.
the inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Pray that your grandfather softens his heart
Yep.
before it's too late.
That's it. And if you're also listening to this and you're like, you know what, I've got a family member going through the same thing and they just won't accept, I challenge you with this. Have you shared the gospel with them? I asked the pastor once, who of a church that I won't mention. I said, when's the last time you had a gospel-centered conversation with somebody outside of these church walls? And he didn't have an answer for me. And he's like, that's a really good thought.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother topic for another day, but share the love of Christ with other people if you have it.
Yeah. Quick
So,
side note on that.
yeah.
We talked about in a recent episode networking.
Mm-hmm.
Networking used to just be called evangelizing
Mhm.
or discipling.
Yep.
There's no reason that every time you meet somebody outside of those 4 church walls that you can't lead the conversation down to, oh, so where do you go to church? Oh, you don't go to church. Are you a Christian?
Mm-hmm.
And start prying into their life a little bit to get to know them and find out if they do or do not know the Lord.
Yeah.
Use those situations. Take advantage of those times that God has given you, those kairos moments,
Yep.
as we talked about in another episode. There's an opportunity in almost every situation for you to discuss that with somebody.
Yeah.
And find out, where are they going when they die?
That's it.
Are they going out with a smile or crying no?
Brian, no. That's it. So, we love you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Suffer Up Podcast. Click on the link tree in our bio for all the happenings, as well as any stickers or merchandise you'd like to purchase to support this channel. And we're going to keep it as free and advertise free as possible. We love you guys. And as always,
Suffer up.